Hey everybody, you have Rolo and Ghost here. We're just sitting here on the Gold Star poker run doing my last stop. Ghost was nice enough to come along with me and do two more stops, even though he did them already. So I had to get them done before Saturday, right? Saturday.
Yep, Saturday.
So we're at Rachel's. What is the name of the place?
Rachel's Roadside Bar and Grill or something.
Yeah, in Wittenberg, right off Highway 45 and 29. Really nice place inside. Was really surprised. But yeah, we rode all the way to Neilsville for my third time to get my check in there because the last two times they were closed.
They screwed you over on that one, yeah.
So
And then we get there today, and they're like, "Yeah, you should have friended Jess on Facebook, because she would have came down and opened it up for you or whatever." We're like, "Well,
but pretty cool place. Both places are actually all the places on the poker run were pretty nice places. All places I've never been before, so kind of cool.
yeah, we got a chicken that snuck up on us over here. Can't see it; it's not on camera, but you got a chicken drinking the water dripping from
Air
the
conditioner.
air conditioner, picking out something."
Probably bugs in there.
Picking up something on the leaves. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I think we almost got 200 miles on for today already. Just being here. And you probably have that for sure because coming down from your place.
I think I'm close to 100 miles now, because I was just short of 200 for 100,000 miles on my bike. I'll make that this weekend for sure.
100,000 miles. That's freaking crazy. Told everybody I was going to kind of do a recap of my trip. Um, I think it was, I don't remember what the total miles was. I didn't quite get 5,000 miles. I think it was 4,600 some miles total. But my trip was also cut short because I didn't go to the Black Hills on the way back. I went through the Black Hills on the way out, but I didn't get to stop at all because I was doing my Iron Butt 1,000-mile day. But I was supposed to go back this week and camp for a few days, but it was supposed to rain there every single day, which I've been watching it. It's been raining there every single day. So I cut some miles off my trip there. But I did get to do the $1,000,000 highway, which I suggest anybody ever wants to do that. Make sure you plan a couple days to go out there and spend. You can do the run in one day easy, but I would turn around and go back to some of those towns and spend some time. Silverton was awesome. I wish I could have spent the whole freaking day there.
Is that the highway that you look at it on the map and there's no gas stations or something?
Oh, there's a lot of little towns all through there. I started from the southern part. I come from Gallup, New Mexico, up through the Navajo Nation, through Farmington, and then I went to Durango. And technically, Durango is the southern end of the $1,000,000 highway. And then Ouray is the northern town. So there's a couple little towns to go through, but the main one is Durango, Silverton, and then Ouray. Ouray is really nice too, but it seemed a lot more, I don't know, ritzy. There's a lot of fancy restaurants and stuff there, where Silverton was more of a, I think it's originally a gold mine town, and it still had that feel, all the old buildings and stuff like that. A lot of tourist trap type stuff there as well. The world's highest Harley Davidson dealership is there. Actually, it's not a dealership because they don't sell bikes there or work on bikes, but
Oh yeah, Mark was saying something about they only sell T-shirts or clothing or something like
t-shirts
that.
and clothing. They had oil. They had oil in there
Oh,
and
of course
some
it is.
parts like that,
Of
but
course
they
it
didn't
is.
do any work. Really nice people. I think it was a husband and wife that might own it. Older couple. They were really nice. Talked to me about if I ever did this before and if I ever had been there before, and it was pretty neat. Told me a
Nice.
bunch of places to go check out, but I was on a timeline, so I didn't get to really check them out. But that's what I would suggest is spend time there. There's a lot of places to camp
Yeah.
in there, and that's what I wish I would have done. I wish I would have planned that, but I already had a hotel booked for that night because being in that heat for several days, I did not want to camp in the heat.
Um,
No, no, sir, because that just drains you out. You need to get hydrated and in the cool at night.
well, we had a pop-up storm on our way back from Mulesville today. Thankfully, we're less than 500 feet from the gas station to pull over.
Yeah, we got soaked in about 30 seconds time.
Yep.
The rest of them we kind of went around.
I don't care riding in the rain. I just don't plan on it, you know. I'll watch the radar and shit like that. I don't like getting wet either.
Me either.
Doesn't matter if it's 80, 90 degrees outside. If you're wet and riding, you're cold. You're cold. So you have chaps on or something.
Our chicken just went west.
Yeah. The chicken said, "These guys look like they haven't eaten dinner yet. I'm gonna head out."
Lucky for him, I don't really care for chicken.
Really?
Not really. I think I've ate so much of it in my life, I'm just tired of it.
What do you think they'd do if I caught it, dressed it, start spinning it on a barbecue over there?
This looks like it could be a happening place once in a while.
Yeah.
Which that doesn't look like it's been used very often anymore.
What is that anyway? Oh, it's
Like
a
a
bar.
outside bar. I don't know if they can see it on there. You can kind of see the corner of it.
Oh, I'd turn that thing into like a hot tub place.
Wrong road, wrong turn, wrong side of the pine. Pulled up thinking you could cross that line. Ain't no sign out here, ain't no welcome mat. But
This weekend we're doing tomorrow we're gonna ride up to Tomahawk. Tomorrow being Friday. I don't know when we're gonna post this, but Friday. I said Tomahawk, Medford, for the bike and truck show up there. And then Saturday we're doing the Gold Star Poker Run ride. I don't know exactly where it all goes, but it ends at Reservoir Dog at 3. So that's where we'll be. So if you're out there, you see this, see us, say hi. And then Ghost and I have been talking about, I'd like to do a ride where we just invite anybody, maybe do it on 4th of July weekend at some point and just ride somewhere. I don't want to go to bars or anything like that. Just ride somewhere nice, maybe have a meal, bullshit, and then ride back. But me, myself, as if you followed along on this page, I like to ride a long distance. So I don't like riding for a 100-mile day. To me is an hour and a half ride. So I would like to ride a little bit further. I don't want to discourage people from coming with us and make it too long of a day, but
Yeah.
I don't know what you think, Ghost, about that.
Doesn't matter to me. As long as I get to ride, I don't care where we go, how far we go, or when we get back home.
It's kind of the way I feel about it too. But if we're bringing people with us, kind of have a day planned. But I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, don't like plan for like a 2-day trip or something like that, you know. Just day trip somewhere.
I
Have
know
soda somewhere, have dinner, whatever.
I haven't said this to Ghost yet, but I had an idea when I was riding, thinking about a lot of stuff. I had a guy tell me one time he does cross country trips all the time, and he goes, "If I know you, I've probably thought about you 100 times on that trip," and he's right. because you sit there, you're mile after mile, and you think about everybody you know. You're just constantly thinking, which I think is a good thing. It's very therapeutic. But I had an idea of doing a ride. I like Renaissance fairs. Maybe you think I'm a dork for that. I don't care, but they're fun. They're a blast. But there's Bristol Renaissance Fair. I thought that'd be a great day trip. Leave here at 6 o'clock in the morning, Central Wisconsin, ride down there, spend 4 hours, and ride back. It's a long day, but it'd be fun. Um, or something like that. I think Minnesota has a Renaissance Fair too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, or go up to Ashland,
Oh, that's beautiful country up there.
something like that.
Fossil Islands or something like that.
Yeah,
There.
there's a lot of good places to eat in Ashland too. Actually, there's a really good pizza place there.
Yes. Yes, there is.
So something like that. If you guys have any ideas, feel free to comment and give us some ideas. And Fourth of July is only a week away, but we can plan something. Either whatever day is looking nicer, actually. But it's supposed to be really, really hot next week. So I think Monday's supposed to be in the 90s,
Really.
and I think it's supposed to last all through next week. But I don't know about it could change 100 times between now and Fourth of July weekend.
Right. Yeah, next month is pretty much the only month we can really do something like that. I mean, we could probably do it, once every couple weeks in July, because you got plans for Sturgis
In August.
in August. That's what, second week in August,
Yep.
and then after that, it's like fall ride, pretty much. We're gonna announce any new road names we've come up with, or we'll just table that for now.
For
Yeah,
we can.
it's up to you. It's your blood.
So my daughter, who's also a Marine Corps veteran, is part of this project as well. She lives in California. That's where I was just out there visiting, and she wants to be part of this. She has been part of this. She's been helping us with editing and figuring out ways we can share communications between us three easily. It's been a challenge, but she's really spent a lot of time on that. But she's going to go by Duchess. That's going to be her road name. And the reason that there's a story behind it is I named her after my great grandmother, who was Charlotte, and everybody always called her Duchess. And I don't think I even told you this, but everybody always, her nickname was Duchess. All of her siblings and all her peers always called her Duchess. I always thought it was kind of neat when I was a kid.
Okay.
Everybody would call her Duchess, and I thought for Charlotte, she's named after my grandma. That'd be a great name for her too.
Heck yeah.
So
It's a good piece of history there. Thanks for that. It's awesome.
and she's also looking at Harleys. We were at Death Valley Harley Davidson. I got a new front tire and service done out there. And shout out to Vic at Death Valley. They were awesome out there. Treated me like gold. Treated Charlotte like gold. Um, Even when we were looking at the clothing people were over there talking to us and shooting their shit with us and joking around and finding shirts and finding patches and everything. We were looking for shot glasses, but they didn't have any. But then Vic, I believe, is their manager. I don't know exactly what he was, but he showed us several bikes for Charlotte. Kind of talking her into the lowrider ST, but I think it's too big of a bike for her. And I told her she should start off on a Sportster. She has ridden street bikes and dirt bikes before, crotch rockets, but I think a lowrider ST or anything like that, it's a little bit too much bike for your first bike. That's just my opinion. I don't know what you think. I was
Uh,
trying to talk her into a Sportster, 1200 Sportster, not a 883.
the 1200 is probably good enough, but I mean, she's tall.
She's tall, yeah.
She'd have to get forward controls and all that stuff, Because when I had a Sportster, the first bike I bought was a Sportster, and it was like I was riding it was 1200 Nightster, but it was like I was riding one of those mopeds around because my legs were just they were mid controls. My legs were just it was just were
See,
disgusting.
that's the thing she didn't like about the STs though, is sitting on it or with the forward controls. She feels like she's out of balance. Where the Sportsters that she tried with the mid range controls, that's what that's called, right? Mid range.
Mid.
She liked that because more like a crotch rocket or a dirt bike, like she's used
I
to.
suppose, yeah.
But that's something she could always change
Mm-hmm.
later on. I told her she'd probably outgrow it a year. After about a year's time, if you like it, you're gonna outgrow the Sportster and want to get something bigger. But
They're a very good first bike
yeah,
for cruising bikes. But
and the
yeah,
1200 engine is a really good engine too. She pretty much maintenance free. I mean, just doing regular maintenance. I mean, there's not a whole lot that goes wrong with them. And out there, I mean, there's Harleys are a dime a dozen out there. That I have video of their parking lot, all the used bikes they had, and there's probably a good 100 bikes out there, used bikes, easy. But there's a story behind that too, is because Orange County Harley Davidson, which is the same owner, I guess, that owns both dealerships, went out of business and they sent all their inventory up to Death Valley. So I think that's why they had so many. But they had them all categorized. They had all the Sportsters, all the Heritages, all the STs together, all the street glides, road glides. All of them were all categorized in order in their parking lot. It's kind of cool. There's a lot of bikes to look at. The one thing I did notice out there is like around here, you look at used bikes, they're all so clean. Out
mm-hmm.
there, they're not. They can see the wear, but I believe it's from the heat.
Yeah.
Almost every seat, even a lot of them had Saddlemen seats on them. They were cracked.
Yeah.
But I think you can't. It's the heat, man. It just ruins everything. Paint's faded, stuff like that that you don't see in Wisconsin, but out there, I think that's more common.
They probably don't have anybody at that dealership to go down and wipe the seats down with leather conditioning stuff so it can expand with the heat, exposing all that dust and stuff out there in the desert.
Yep, my bike was just coated constantly, and if you try to wipe it, you don't want to wipe it. You want to spray it off first because I think it scratches the shit out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you could tell that's a lot of those bikes had that look to them, like probably still good running bikes, but plus the heat out there, I don't know what that does to motors. When I was at Las Vegas Harley Davidson, it was 105 degrees, and they thought I was crazy for being out there. They said no bike should ever run over 100 when it's 100 degrees. No bike should be out there on the road, and I'm like, I don't know if I agree with that.
I mean, what type of cooling system you have?
I got an oil cooler, that's it. But
yours liquid cooled.
huh?
Yours is liquid cooled.
Mine's not.
Oh, it's not?
No, it's just got an oil cooler, that's it.
Oh.
It ran fine and never had any problems. I didn't really have any problems either. I think it really got in my head when they started talking to me about that I'm like, I'm doing something wrong. They're like, you're nuts for being out there in this heat. This is our off season, you know. But I did it. I'm back. Black Betty's still running really good. That's what I didn't say this on any video before. And I know you asked me, and I really didn't answer you because you asked me, how's your bike running? And I'm like, running fine. But she did run fine the whole freaking way, man. She ran great. She didn't use a drop oil at all. My oil never changed. When I got my oil changed, it was black. It needed to be changed because I had 5,000 miles on that oil. But coming back now, I got another almost 3,000 miles on this oil change right now, and it's still. I just checked it this morning, and it was still clear.
Nice.
So never used any. The only thing I had to do on my trip was my key fobs ran out of juice, and I had to air up my tires a couple times. But I imagine you're up in the mountains, it's
Yeah.
56 degrees. You're down in the valley, it's 100.
Yep.
So I'm
Tire
sure that
pressure's
affects
gonna
the
change.
tires.
Yep. Yeah.
And I had to change my front tire out there, which had 11,500 miles on it. So that's fine. And I think I'm going to shortly have to change my back tire.
That's what it's about, though. Taking care of your bike. Take care of your bike will take care of you. Yeah, so you can see I'm wearing a brand new vest. Kind of try to break it in. Got some patches. Came in the mail. I think Rolo likes them, so I think we're gonna go with them.
I think we go with them.
We'll order a couple more of those, a few more anyway, and also name tapes. What do you think of the name tapes? I'm gonna probably get bigger ones.
I like them, but I have to put them on, not maybe put them on, but put them up to see, because they have the American flag on them already. I kind of like that.
Yeah, well, I can order the same one. They'll be just stretched out, larger letters. Because when I looked at my other vest, it's like I don't know what the measurements are, probably 1 by 2 or whatever measurement. But I like the way that one kind of lays across my old vest. I put on this one, it looks real small. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, probably. You might, yeah, you're probably right. You know more about that stuff than I do.
oh, that's just looking at it. I don't know. That's just me. But I'd like everything to be the same as well.
We also want to do some interviews. So if you're interested, if you're a veteran and want to tell your story, we'd like to hear from you. There's a couple organizations that we already kind of have lined up. Probably over the next month in July, we have to get those done. Um, I don't want to name any names yet because I haven't had 100% confirmation. But I know for one, for sure, Patriot Canines of Wisconsin, we're going to interview those people.
I love those people.
I love those people too. For all of you that don't know, I work there. But we train service dogs for disabled veterans, 100% free. But we want to kind of showcase them a little bit. We also have for Patriot Canines, we're raffling off a 2026 Street Glide through from Open Road Harley Davidson down in Fond du Lac. It's the orange color, orange on black, I guess it is.
Oh, now you're talking dirty.
It's a really nice looking
Now
bike.
you're talking
I don't know who
dirty.
picked that out though. I just can't figure that one out. Whose idea that was.
Yeah.
But if anybody's interested, we're selling those tickets. There's 1,000 tickets sold for $50. Yeah, so if you're interested in that, send us a message. I can get you hooked up with a ticket, or if you're from Central Wisconsin, you can stop at Patriot Canines right in Wausau, Wisconsin, to buy a ticket right from us. So, but
Tell your
that's
friends. Tell all your friends. Follow us on our platforms. Raffling off a Harley Davidson.
yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, or you could take $15,000 cash.
Hmm.
So there's a cash option too. So if the bike doesn't interest you, I don't know why you wouldn't take the bike, because it costs you about 30 grand to buy that bike, and you could probably turn around and sell it for more than 15 grand. But if you didn't want to deal with all that, you could just take the $15,000 cash option. So we probably are going to be sold out after EAA in Fond du Lac, because we're going to have a booth at EAA. We'll probably sell the rest of the tickets off there. So that's coming up here end of July.
What is EAA?
Um, Experimental Aircraft Association. That
Okay.
big fly-in Oshkosh. It's in Oshkosh. Sorry, I
Okay,
said
yep.
Fond du Lac.
I've heard of that
Oshkosh.
before, yep.
I like to misspeak a lot like that. Sorry, but yeah, we're gonna have a booth there. The Harley will be on display there, and there's probably 100,000 people that go to that thing. So I'm sure we're gonna sell the rest of the tickets out because I'm pretty sure we have over half of them sold already. So,
Good stuff.
and that'll be raffled off on Labor Day weekend on that Saturday at 1 o'clock, I believe, is the time. So 1,300 on Saturday of Memorial Day weekend. At will be live. Well, Patriot Canines will be live, not the Long Ride Home Project, but be raffled off at Open Road Harley Davidson in Fond du Lac. So
And you're going to be down there for that?
I'll be there for that. I plan on riding there for that. I hope I can ride for that. I don't have to. I hope I can ride there and still be part of Patriot Canines, but I may have to drive our stuff down there. I don't know yet. That's still to be determined.
Well, I can ride down and represent Long Ride Home Project if you want.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd like to interview their owner because he's a Marine Corps veteran as well.
Awesome.
I don't want to say names on here right now because I don't have permission to say that, but
Right.
I'm sure he wouldn't mind the plug for their dealership. It's been brought to my attention from two different people about recovery from motorcycle accidents and how people give it up for after they've been in an accident. And I kind of mentioned it in one of my videos previously that that's a story for a future. And I don't know if you think this is a good time to talk about that maybe a little bit.
We can talk about it.
But last year, I was meeting two of my friends to go on a ride on Labor Day weekend, actually. And me and my youngest spent the whole day shining up Black Betty, gotten her all cleaned up. And we went for a little tool around. We're going to meet a couple that were coming up for that ride. We're going to go to Ashland, actually. And then a 1 day trip was going to be about 460 miles, I think. We're going to do it on a Sunday. And Saturday, we're going to meet for dinner. And my daughter was on the back of the bike with us. We're basically in town and just putting along about 40 miles an hour. It's 45-mile-an-hour speed limit. I have my kid on the back, so I'm not being stupid or anything. And deer ran right into us, basically. And I spent 15 days in the hospital and 5 of them in intensive care. Traumatic brain injury, broken shoulder, broken wrist, bumps and bruises. Had to have surgery on my wrist. But in the hospital, and there's people who'll testify to this, I was already looking for my next bike. I already had a bike all picked out at Open Road, actually, in Fond du Lac, and all ready to go because I thought for sure they were going to total Black Betty out, which they didn't. We got it fixed over the winter. I think it was $10,500 worth of damage to the bike. But yeah, as soon as the weather got good this spring, I had it out and I've been rolling, and I've got 5, 6, 7, almost 8,000 miles in this year already.
Damn.
So, but that's with the ride to California and back.
Yeah, I'm close to like 4 this year already, just around here. But I love these back roads. These Wisconsin back roads are just beautiful to ride. You don't have to gun it or anything. Just a nice little Sunday ride. Beautiful out here.
Yeah, it was a nice ride coming here today, even though we got caught in the rain. But yeah, I just want people to understand that I really think that you got to adapt and overcome. I think if you got into a motor vehicle accident with a car, I don't think you'd stop driving your car. So why would you stop driving your motorcycle? I've been riding since 1988. So I don't know how, that's almost 30 years, right? That's more than that. It's almost 40 years.
Jeez, you're old. You're old, bro.
You have to cut the F word out, but yeah, I've had another accident once before where a car pulled out in front of me and I landed on their hood, but I didn't get hurt in that one. But other than that, knock on wood, um, I think there's a guy called Hardtails and Dreams. I don't know if anybody's seen him, but he always kind of signs off with, he goes, I'd tell you to ride safe. He goes, but that's the wrong thing to say. Ride smart. Ride smart. And I think that's the key to it, is just riding smart. There's nothing you can do about deer jumping out in front of you. And Wisconsin really sucks for that.
Yep.
But I don't think anybody should be afraid to get back on a bike and go again. Because if it's something you love, and ultimately, maybe I shouldn't say it this way, but my family all knows, and I know you've said the same thing, that if that's the way I die, I'd rather die that way than die of old age, crippled up in a nursing home. That's just my truth. I mean,
Yep.
I don't want to die. Don't get me wrong, but I don't do stupid stuff either.
Yeah, we don't seek it out.
Yeah.
But it does happen. And it happens so fast, there's nothing you can do about it.
But yeah, if you're one of those people that have reached out to me, or if somebody else is in a similar situation, I highly suggest getting back on the bike and going again. So that's my advice.
I concur. So if we end up doing these interviews, we can do it in like a podcast style. Is that kind of how we're thinking about doing it?
I think it just depends on who it is and where we're at. I think I like that idea too, like this, where you have maybe a couple screens, even if they're not, we can't go to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like Duchess, for example, I never did get an interview with them out there because we never got a chance to actually sit down like this and do that. Right. But I think doing a podcast style for them would be great, you know. But then there's other places like the place up in north of here that I want to go interview them, and I think that could be done by shooting video and cutting stuff together. You know,
I think my idea was based around calling it veteran voices. We do it, we sit down or whatever. It'll be the Long Ride Home Project's veteran voices segment or something.
I like
after
that.
we come off a long ride or something, or just before we go on a ride, we'll sit down and talk to somebody, but kind of put it out there like that.
Yeah, I like that idea. Yeah, because I think what for the audience, I think what we want to do is we want to showcase organizations that are helping veterans, and we also want to tell veteran stories specifically. You know, I have 3 people I know that want to do this for sure. Sit down and talk veterans. What do you call it?
Veteran voices.
Veteran voices. I think that's great. And we want to do a segment called Rolo's Road, and then we want to do another one called Ghost Stories. I think
that's yeah.
I think we can have several different segments like that.
Kind of get the background of the veteran, and where they served or how many years they served, what branch they served in, and just smoke a cigar and bullshit with them. It actually goes pretty smoothly once you start breaking the ice and talking about whatever it is we talk about. The stories just come back naturally, and you just talk about them, you laugh about them, joke about them, and that'll spark a memory in somebody else's head, like, oh yeah, I remember that, or yeah, we used to do something like that. And I like how that kind of, we just play off each other, like bringing back memories.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of big things coming up for us. We're just getting started. We're only like 3 months into this, 2 months into this.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out our way through it. It's been a huge learning curve. But I think already we've affected people's lives, and I think you've had people reach out to you. I've had people reach out to me, and that's ultimately why we're doing this. We're not doing this for fame or fortune. We're doing this. Really, I'm doing this. I want to prevent veteran suicide. That's 100% why I'm doing it, and that's what my real job's about. But I can only help so many people through that job, and I really feel like I want a way to help more people faster. And that's how I sort of started dreaming about this last year. Because before my accident, I had this already in my head that I wanted to do this.
I think
So
what my take on it is, we want to do this because it needs to be done. You know, it's overdue. We're losing too many people, too many of our brothers and sisters, because we're not loud enough. Not you and I specifically, but other organizations and stuff like that, other people. If it can be prevented, let's prevent it.
and ultimately, I've I mean, my real job, I deal with this every day. Um, I do a lot of speaking around the country, actually. Um, and I think certain individuals won't agree with what I'm about to say, but there's a lot of people that are really in the know that agree with it. There's nothing that we can do to prevent suicide.
Nope.
There's not one thing you can put your finger on to say that's what that person's going to commit suicide, or that person's at risk. Because I know several people that have attempted it that never dreamt about doing it until that very moment. And what led that to them to that? Only that individual knows.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that's scientific or medical that you can say. And there's so many of that in the. I don't want to bash the VA, and I'm not, but the numbers are skewed. Believe me, they're skewed.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, and almost every veteran, I think almost every person probably has thought about doing it once in their life, at least once. Some people have ideations daily, some people have them weekly, some people have them yearly, some people maybe only have done it once. But I think it's part of human nature, honestly. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just going up from my perspective
I
because
think
I've thought about it.
when people lose hope, I think that's, you know, they feel like they can't do anything else good, or they feel useless, in whatever lifestyle they're living, or whatever situations they're going through. I think it's they can't they don't see themselves progressing any further, and they just feel like, well, there's no use for me anymore. And you're right, it does happen like that. you know
I did a speaking engagement in Milwaukee, and I'm not going to say who this person was, but this is a very influential person and the doctor. And I had dinner with him. I didn't plan on having dinner with him, but just worked out that after my speech, I was invited to dinner, and he sat next to me. And I didn't know who he was. I didn't know he was a medical doctor at the time. He asked me a lot of follow-up questions when I was done. After I done, after I'm done giving a lecture or a speech, I always open it up to questions from the audience. And he asked me like four or five. Well, then he sat next to me at the meal. Sorry, I got kind of a little bit of a cold going on, but he sat down next to me and he asked me, first question he goes, what do you think causes a person to have suicide ideations or commit suicide? And I was like, I said, honestly, I don't think there's any one thing that you could put your finger on. And he goes, that's the most honest answer I've ever heard.
mm-hmm.
And he went through a whole story about himself. And again, this person is very influential. If I said his name, I don't want to say his name, but if I said his name, people would probably know who he is. Um, but he told me a story about how his life went with his family, and some bad things happened. And he was in a hotel in a certain part of the country visiting family, and he woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning and said, I'm going to end it. And he was next to the ocean. He goes, I planned it. He goes, I wore my old, he put sweatpants on and a shirt. See, he wanted nothing to identify himself. He took a bunch of, I don't know what he took, sleeping pills or what. And he waded out into the ocean, and he was going to fall asleep in the ocean and drown. And when he washed up on shore, he didn't want anybody to know that he was he wanted people to think he was just a bum that just died, right? He did wash up on the shore about 3 miles down in a private beach, and he didn't know where he was. And he went and knocked on the door and told the people that he needed to know where he was at. He had too much to drink the night before and ended up on their beach, is what he told them. And he called an Uber and got a ride back to his hotel. It was later on in that day. His wife didn't know where he was. Nobody knew where he went, but he tried and it didn't work. Whatever was watching out for him and washed him back up on shore, and he woke up. And he told me, he's like, there's no reason why I would have done that. I have everything I'd ever want.
Yeah.
By a very wealthy individual. And I'm just sharing that story because it could be anybody, And again, that proves to me that there's not one thing you can just say, whether you're going through a divorce, whether you lost your job, whether you're a child, God forbid, passes away, or somebody like that has everything. It's just 4 o'clock in the morning, you wake up and be like, I'm done.
Yeah. That's a good segue into, this stuff isn't veteran specific. If you can help anybody with their ideations or, their attempts, their thoughts of doing that, do it. Not just veterans, everybody. But you're right. If they want to do it, they're going to do it. And they're going to make sure they do it and nobody stops them. It's a conundrum.
I just had now that we're talking about this, there's a lot of stories popping in my head. I don't know how long we want to go, but while I was out on my trip, I posted on Facebook and all that. And there's an individual that I know. And if she's watching this, you're going to know who you are. And I'm not going to name you, but basically publicly posted on her page that she was going to end it. And that she wanted her doctors to do, she was seeking, what is it called when you ask a doctor to end your life?
Oh, yeah.
Assisted euthanasia.
Yeah.
That she was going to seek that. She's tired of being depressed, all that. So this is not an individual I know really well, but I reached out to her. And basically, what I said, I think is true, is what you're experiencing is life. Life isn't always good. Life can have bad times, but know that it's not always going to be bad. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. Some tunnels are really freaking long. I am not going to deny that. But life's about picking yourself up every day and carrying on through the day and staying one more day, especially when you're depressed like that. But ultimately, if that's that person's choice, that's your choice. Can't talk somebody out of it. You just can't.
Yeah.
And that person, I believe, has attempted at least once before, where the person was hospitalized for a length of time. And believe it was very close to actually happening. But this person, I mean, I think this person, I don't know her that well, but from what I do know about her, she's got a lot. She's young, beautiful, could have anything in the world, but for some reason feels like, you know,
Yeah, man.
but that's exactly, this is what we want to discuss. We want to openly discuss this stuff because it's not just, you know, yeah, the veteran population has higher suicide rate than the normal population, but I believe Wausau itself, or basically was our central hub of where we live, Wausau, Wisconsin, has a huge suicide rate for young people. I mean, there was this I just seen on Facebook this past weekend too, or I think she's 19 years old, and her family posted that she ended her life this within the last few days, last weekend, or I just seen that too, and I was like, what is going on
Yep.
with the young kids? I don't know the answer to that, but
Yeah, I have a story. Maybe we'll save it for next time. I'll have to write it down. We'll save it for next time. And it's not veteran related. It's a young kid, 5th grade, that I knew pretty well when I was like 6th or 7th grade. You know, we'll save that for next time. But it's a long ride home.
yeah,
Should get going.
should probably get going. See y'all.
Yep. Ghost out.
Rolo's out.